fellow Berlin enthusiasts. Welcome to the Green Me Berlin podcast. This is where I go out and chat to Berlin's coolest creators, founders, and free spirits of all those unique eco-minded projects in the capital. Or simply those who are trying to make the city even more beautiful, livable, and fun for everyone. I do my very best to extract their stories, secrets, and passions to help you get lots and lots of inspiration of what you can do and experience in this magical city and how we can all shake the world a little bit. Super glad to have you with me on this journey. Now let's go green in this urban jungle, and remember, always be prepared to be amazed. Alrighty, hey fellow Berlin enthusiasts! Welcome to session number 7 of the Green Me Berlin podcast. I'm really excited about today's guest, which is Leo from MealSaver. They're a Berlin-based startup that is passionate about stopping food waste in the gastronomy sector. How do they do that? With an app that helps food businesses to sell their leftovers and helps us to get a tasty meal for very little money. Win-win! From a small bakery around the corner to big hotel chains, the amounts of food that are going to waste every single day are mind-boggling. MealSaver only launched in October last year, but what they've built since is simply amazing. And Leo was such a great person to talk to. He spent time researching about food waste at the uni in Berkeley, California, and also got the chance to get a taster of the startup community in Silicon Valley. God, we chatted about so many things. For example, why a young, passionate startup can change something today, why politicians take years. We discussed some of the biggest issues around food waste in our society, how the Generation Y is developing a new price tolerance towards sustainable food, what the factor 1.3 tells us about overproduction of food. You also learn how the food businesses actually reacted to the whole idea of MealSaver, and how MealSaver uses the help of its community to develop the app further, and why you don't need to have a perfect product to get started. Make sure to listen up to the end, as Leo made such an amazing call out to the world, to you and to everyone who wants to help us changing something. And as always, it would be a huge help for me if you could hop over to iTunes and leave me a really short review. Tell me how you like the show. It's really what I need to keep me going. But for now, without further rambling around, promise, it's time to get into the show. What's up, everyone? I'm so happy to welcome Leo from MealSaver here on the show. Leo, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Claudi. Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. You know, I've been really looking forward to having you on the podcast. We've been in touch for a while right now, and I gotta say, when I first heard of you guys, I thought the idea was brilliant, and stopping food waste is so important. But I wasn't 100% sure if people in Berlin would be ready for an app like this yet. But wow, I mean, you've done so well to bring that out and get lots and lots of people excited about it. So congratulations for that. And I can't wait, because I know you'll have some amazing facts and insights to share on how we can all do our little bit to eat greener and save tons of food from the bins and even get some great fun and value out of it for ourselves. So yeah, it's really, really cool to have you. All right. Now, before I'll let you explain a bit more about what you do, tell me about the day when you were working on MealSaver and realized that this is really going to be something, like that there's no way back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was the day when we launched our app in the app stores, in the Google Play stores. Mm-hmm. On that day, we already had a bunch of restaurants that want to partner with us. And when we went online and told our friends and everyone on the social media channels which already existed that we are now online, that the whole thing is now getting started, we all had this feeling, okay, now there's no returning back, but there's only a forward and getting bigger and stronger and preventing more food from being wasted.
Wow, sounds exciting. Did it feel like almost like a calling? Like this is it? This is how we can really make a contribution out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with every single box which is given over from a restaurant to a consumer, you are already saving about 1 kilo of food in
No way.
average.
Wow.
So therefore, we can already proudly say that we've saved a couple of tons of food already.
My God, that's amazing. It's really inspiring. All right. And now you can tell me what happened before that day. Like take us to the start of the MealSaver story. Like who came up with it and how did it all happen?
Yeah, so we were, it was a founding team of a couple of around 5 people who were working on a similar project under a Danish flag. And this didn't really work out in Germany because of couple circumstances. It is very business oriented, and therefore the whole team wanted to create something more social, something more sustainable, and came up with MealSaver.
Right.
So there was a social investor found, Ventures, who is now supporting us financially, of course. And with these funds, we could get started and create something beautiful, what we can work with right now.
Great. When did you join the team? Were you in the core team?
I was not in the founding team, but I joined them in a pretty early stage.
Yeah. How did you find together?
Yeah, I finished my studies, and my master's thesis, which I wrote at UC Berkeley and TU Darmstadt, was on restaurant food waste prevention. And during my research, which is still ongoing, I contacted a couple of entrepreneurs, looked what initiatives are there, and then I got contact to those fellows, and we had a couple of talks, and then I've decided to move to Berlin in September last year.
Oh, good. So what was like personally your biggest drive to do this? Like, what makes you jump out of bed each morning and head to the MealSaver office?
Oh, it's so many reasons. But let's say my main motivation coming from this field was definitely that there can be a big change made very easily. So this low-hanging fruit can be picked really, really quickly without making a big effort. And I think in today's day where you see how politicians act, how policies are being implemented, everything is fine, but everything takes so much time. And in this kind of startup, it's really possible to change something today and not even tomorrow.
That's amazing. I can really feel like your energy flowing for this. It's awesome. And I agree. Like there's so much, like the governments are out there, and in some things, of course, they're doing a good job, but it's all, as you say, it's all taking really slowly. And nowadays, like we all have like so much power as individuals, and we can just go out and do stuff. And you're a really good example for that. All right. Can you take us a little bit deeper into the topic? Like, what do you think are the biggest challenges we're facing with regards to food waste in our society? Like, what are you stepping up against?
At the end, food waste is energy. And in this energy embedded, there's a lot of natural resources. So in order to grow, or as we all know, the perfect example is the steak. In order to grow a cow, to feed it, you need to have so many natural resources. You need to transport it, you need to refrigerate it, then you prepare it, and at the end, if it's not being eaten, if it's not being bought, it's being wasted, and it's eventually landing on some landfill dumpster in the world, and under some plastic bags being anaerobically digested and producing methane gas, which is a way more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. So along the whole supply chain of food, there's so many holes and issues that are existing. And at the end, if you really waste this food, this is so much more valuable than just the price you see in a supermarket. And therefore, we should really try to focus to work on solutions to prevent food waste.
Man, yeah, Amar, I agree on this with you. It's such a big point that you just addressed there. It's massive. We really have to start thinking about these things. But you're pretty positive about the future, right?
We have to be, and only if you're a positive person, you can change something, I believe.
Exactly.
So, and I think also it's nothing new. At least my grandmother always told me to finish up my plate and not leave anything on it. And the same is happening today, and our society is being changed, and certain aspects and certain ethical aspects in terms of food and regarding food are changing, so that the barrier, the pricing, etc., is I think turning a little bit lower, and people or some people really don't care about what is being left over, where it's being left over, or what happens with it after.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, as you say, I mean, just being positive about it and kind of infusing people with your enthusiasm about it. I think this is what really works. All right. Now I would love to chat a bit about how MealSaver works and why it is creating such a good value for both users and restaurants. I mean, the core concept of MealSaver is pretty easy to understand, but give me your elevator pitch. How does it work and what makes it stand out?
Yeah, so with MealSaver, you can pick up food from restaurants which is being left over in the end of the day. So usually in a time frame of 15 minutes to 1 hour, more or less, you can pick up food in a restaurant shortly before they close. It's usually in the evening. Some food services are also during the day or after the lunch buffet. And there you can buy for a price of €1.50 to €3.50, usually in some certain cases more, a box, a portion of food. In the buffet style place, for example, you get an empty box and you can fill it up as you want, and this box is compostable. In a bakery, you get a paper bag, and they usually fill it up for you with goods like baked goods. You purchase a ticket through the app, and therefore the restaurant is ensured that only a certain amount of people will show up. They set every day the amount of portions, or they know they every day overproduce a certain amount X of food, and they can count with it every day. Because as you might know, in the food business, there's this factor 1.3, which means that an overproduction of 30% is counted everywhere, all the time.
Wow.
So they need to have solutions to deliver or to give that out at the end.
Man, 30% is a lot. Wow, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been to a hotel and you show up 5 minutes before the buffet closes, there's still to be the whole range, the whole variety of food. Otherwise, you as a consumer might complain. This is actually the society from yesterday. So there really needs to be a change for the society of tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. So looking at the side of your partners, all the restaurants and cafes you have in the app, how many do you have there right now?
So right now, almost 300 all over Germany. Whoa. And a little less than 200 in Berlin.
Wow.
And those are ranging from the typical bakery at the corner through a sushi place, or hotel buffet, soup kitchen, like all kinds of foods you could imagine. I think in Berlin we got everything.
Yes, so
places, gluten-free, salt-free,
Yeah. Oh, can you ask for that? Like if you're vegan or gluten free or so, is there like a feature that lets you ask for that? Or
so right now you can see if a restaurant has only vegan options.
Right. Yeah.
And in the near future we will implement another feature which lets you filter, and then you can really filter for these certain details of food.
Cool. Talking about the features, what is the feature you're most proud of? Like the feature that you think creates most value?
I think it's the app itself. It's the way that a restaurant can highly dynamically, so 1 hour before they close, say, okay, now I have 10 portions of food left, and I can give out these. And a consumer, on the other hand, can see this immediately. This hasn't been existing by now. And I think this is really a tool with which we can, in a very dynamic way, connecting consumers and restaurateurs, and therefore make this handing out of food easier.
Yeah, sounds good. It's brilliant. And I mean, we already tapped into it just before, but what is the most important feature that you want to add or improve in the near future? Maybe apart from the vegan thing? Is there something else?
There's, of course, a list of things we would love to implement, but mostly our the community that is using MealSaver gives us so much feedback, so much valuable feedback, that we really see, okay, which are really the burning points right now, where should we really work on. And those are, as I said already, the filter functions, so that it can narrow down exactly at what time you want to eat what kind of food, in maybe which area. And in two weeks, there will be already an update that will make localization much more precise. So you can search for a certain address if there's something around.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna ask that, if that maybe comes when I have like my favorite restaurant and I wanna type that in or so.
Yeah, it's coming.
That would be cool.
But as you might know, app development is really, or as I've learned in the past month, it's a really, really challenging and complicated ongoing process. And in order to implement a new feature, you need many hours of developer.
Yes.
And of course, we're talking about a lot of money. Therefore.
Yes. Oh yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it always takes longer than you think. It's one of my biggest learnings so far. You always think, oh yeah, let's just quickly do it, and then, oh well. Yeah. I am, like, personally, I'm really hooked by the way you link being affordable and being eco-friendly. Like, we were already saying that the boxes, they cost like between 150 and, what was it, like 350 or 5 years or something. And most people out there still think that it's expensive to go green. Did you also feel that this is a major pain point out there and something that really holds people back from like living and eating more sustainably?
So maybe first talking about our business, eating green is really affordable in that way, because for a price between 150 and 350, you cannot do anything wrong. You can just try it, and even if you were disappointed because you didn't get exactly what you've expected, because you always get a surprise box, you might have a completely different experience at a different restaurant. Although if we talk about organic food and sustainably grown local food, usually those prices, as we see in the retail stores, are still higher, and but also the bar is sinking for that, I believe, and Generation Y is now more and more okay with spending more money on better food, as if you can see where it comes from.
That's so true. Yeah, that's really true. That was an issue. I think, that was really an issue before, like especially in Germany. Like, there's other countries who valued food a bit more than us, I'd say. But Germany was always like pretty much going on the cheap. But yeah, I agree with you that this is changing. So, pretty positive about that as well. Looking back on like the restaurants and cafes and all your partners, how did they actually all react when you knocked on the door and explained what you want to do? Like, were they all really open straight away, or did they think, what do you want? Like, how did that go?
So, of course, it's very different reactions that we face every day. We have a very good process for that, contacting restaurant, which is first calling them and then talking with them, and then we go to further stages. And the reactions are really ranging from, I do waste food, but I don't have an interest in giving it over, through, I don't understand exactly what you would do with this food. So they have the leftovers, but they they've never had something like this, so they cannot really imagine in their everyday process how this would work.
Yeah.
Over to we make everything fresh from scratch. We don't waste a single item. So you really have the full range of conversations every day, and this is what I'm really trying to work on right now, how to make restaurateurs easier accessible and make them simply this feeling of sustainable, and that this process is not making more work for the restaurant, but really taking off work off their shoulders and giving them some extra money. This is something that really needs to be communicated well.
Yeah, that's true. Is there also is there an option that they reach out to you, or is there probably? Yeah, I think that's on your website, right? There's like a thing, like a button called "Become a Partner," or could they could they just
both sides? Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's great. So if there's any Berlin food business, restaurant, cafe, anyone who kind of makes and sells food out there is listening now, this is a really important thing, and it's such a great value for both you, for your customers, for the environment, everything. So please get in touch with MealSaver. I'll put the contact details in the show notes. But we are not ready yet because I want to swing over to talk about this amazing city that is Berlin, and ask you, why do you think that concepts like MealSaver work so well in Berlin? And I mean, why did you choose to start it here?
So first, the team was based in Berlin, or mostly based. Many of us also resettled now to the city. But I think, of course, the size is one factor. If you want to start something, you definitely need a certain size, and but you also don't want to go too far away to other cities, traveling, spending time on that. And of course, it's the open-mindedness of the people. It's the access to food, the way of thinking, the startup culture, the numerous events that are out there. I think those all helped us creating a community and making so many fantastic contacts all over the world, actually, from this tiny town, as I can say, that help us so well to connect. I was living for 1 year at Silicon Valley and saw how the community is set up there. And I think in Berlin it's way, of course, in terms of size, more compressed. But also the infrastructure is fantastic for social entrepreneurs, but in general, of course, for.
Wow, that's a really big compliment for Berlin, I'd say, because I wanted to ask you that later, because I heard that you studied at the Uni of Berkeley in California, and I would have asked you, like, where do we stand here compared to California? But yeah, wow, that's that sounds really good. Sounds really encouraging. Like, do you see a potential that Berlin becomes a big player, like sort of a hub for the low waste movement in Germany or even beyond?
In terms of waste, I think, or in general, across industries, it doesn't matter too much where you are if the concept is applicable in many places.
Yeah.
But of course, we have many initiatives that have been grown here, or that are now being also implemented and used. And as this kind of test city in Berlin, you can find all kinds of people in order to see, okay, would this work also globally? Let's try it in Berlin, then we can see if it has potential or not. So therefore, I think the location is really good for that and helpful.
My God, this is such a good way of thinking it. Like, yeah, the whole world kind of is in Berlin. It's true. It's like people from like so many countries and nationalities and backgrounds, and from other startup hubs as well, and who all kind of bring in their own ideas. And yeah, you're right. Like you can totally test things out here. It's like a little, like a little starting hub. It's really cool. Yeah. And how do you look at the green startup scene here in Berlin in terms of like what's the vibe? Is there general support and lots of exchange, or would you say like everyone's a bit on their own? Or yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm usually working during the day and in the evenings with half of my brain, which means there's so many events for startups, for entrepreneurs, for green thinking people, for whatever, I would say. You can hang out every evening with a different group of people and talk or hear people talking, presenting. So there's so many possibilities, and that's what I'm really trying to do right now, being understanding the whole movement better and who's out there. And there's the German Startup Association, and they founded now a food tech group, and
Really? Oh, good.
like
I didn't know
80%
that.
of those entrepreneurs are from Berlin. It's been founded 3 months ago, so it's a pretty new thing. And therefore, the connection between those people and the exchange, and most of the food entrepreneurs have a certain sustainable background, otherwise
Yeah.
they wouldn't do it.
That's true.
It helps so much to hear all those initiatives and how it can be applied. And of course, many problems are the same, so you can work together on certain issues. It's really a great environment to have the access to those people and to those initiatives.
Amazing. Yeah, that's exactly how I experience it. And yeah, you're so right. Like in terms of green, eco-minded events, there's like so much going on. Like not only for entrepreneurs. Like I got my events calendar on the side, and it's always like I could fill it like so much. I just don't always have time. But yeah, it's really, and you do it and you research all kind of events that are going on, and you just think, oh my God, where am I going to go first? And yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Looking at like that, I mean that you're based in Berlin. Do you actually think about offering MealSaver in English as well, or is it so straightforward that you don't really need it in two languages?
Oh yeah, actually this is already ready. It just needs to be implemented in the app.
Oh,
Because
great.
also we got the feedback from our community in that way that we are excluding currently a certain amount of people, which is so important. And therefore, because the translation itself, it's no issue. It's more really the technical implementation.
Yeah.
So soon there will be also this feature in it.
Yeah, amazing. All right. Now we're coming, like, after lots of really exciting facts, we're coming slowly towards the final section of what I wanted to ask you. And there's a few things that I ask all of my interview guests. First thing is, since launching MealSaver last October, which is which is pretty recent, but since launching it, what was your biggest learning so far? Like your biggest aha moment?
It's definitely the insight into the gastronomy sector and seeing how much food is being wasted there. I've studied that on a little bit more theoretical point during my studies and analyzed but not quantified. And now I can really see how much food indeed is left over every day, even in the smallest back and snack at the corner through the big hotel, and how those amounts change. And this was really is every time again for me so astonishing how much food is being wasted every day, and seeing that in real. Yeah.
Man, I can imagine that. Like already just listening to you about that's like makes me imagine like all these amounts. But then actually when you're in touch with it every day, but yeah, I mean you're changing it. All right. Speaking of changing, if you could change one thing in Berlin within the next 24 hours, what would it be?
Ooh,
You can take a
it
second.
would be probably the weather. No, actually the Berlin winter is really hard for me. But I think the open-mindedness of the people is there, but also sometimes trying to challenge and to overcome your own shadow and really trying something new and investing a little bit of time in that in order to broaden your horizon. And therefore, I mean, the third reason, for example, to use MealSaver, it's not cost, it's not environment, it is experience, the Airbnb effect. So when you get a portion with MealSaver, you don't know what you will get. And this is, I think, what in future will drive a lot of people doing things. They will pay money for something they don't know. And therefore, we can, with MealSaver, really create an experience for people, this aha effect of seeing how much food is being wasted, but also trying new foods. I think the people will get more into that, and I hope that simply everyone, maybe who's listening right now, will just be a little bit more curious and adventurous, so that we can really have color every day in our lives.
Oh, I love that. I'm so like I'm surely the biggest advocate of like what it adds to your life if you're just curious and go out there and explore, and how much fun it is actually, even if it's like being green was always linked to like kind of stress or difficult things and so on, but it's actually not true, as you say. Like, just open your eyes and go out and experience cool stuff. I love that. All right. And what question should I have asked you but didn't?
Maybe what else is what other initiatives are out there in order to prevent food waste in Berlin, for example.
Okay, and which one are
and So the biggest two game changers in this area, and most of you are familiar with those, I believe, are the Tafel, the food bank, and food sharing. So we are working very closely together in order to see where to really fill the missing holes. And the Tafel is a big organization which is picking up from big supermarkets, from big bakeries regularly amounts. Food sharing is a little bit more dynamic, but also regularly picking up food from supermarkets, sometimes from restaurants. And we are really trying to fill this last hole, which is so dynamic, which is sometimes so little, which makes it even not easy for food sharing to pick up. And those are even the little one portions of food that are being left over somewhere, and trying to dynamically distribute those.
Amazing. I love it. Like you in this answer, you totally bring through this supportive vibe that we just talked about in that green scene, because I think it's great that you kind of talk about which other initiatives are there and what else we can do. And yeah, all together, it's getting somewhere. It's really getting somewhere, I have the feeling. All right. Now, last question. If there was one thing you could pass on to the Green Me Berlin community, like to all the people out there, just anything that comes straight to your mind, what would it be?
Oh, just support all initiatives you hear about, all social entrepreneurs that are trying to do very hard work, but can only work successfully if there is a community behind. And so therefore I just can make a call and look who's out there, what new initiatives, be curious, try them out, talk to people, give feedback, and simply create something big, because each of us can change something in that sense. And we need therefore more and more velocity forward.
Oh, yes. I love it. It's such an important message, and a really, really great way to finish. Leo, I'm really glad that we could talk today and that you told us lots of fascinating insights about MealSaver and the anti-food waste movement, so to say. community is super important. I can only like really stretch that. And but yeah, without you, we would not be on the path where it's going now. So I wish you and the team all the best for making it really big and convincing many people out there that we can really stop our food from landing in a bin. Keep going.
Claudi, thank you very much, and completely the same to Green Me Berlin. And please, everyone, check out all those great features the platform has to give. I was amazed by myself how many things you could implement there.
Thank you so much. That's really lovely. Thank you. Have a great day, Leo. Wow. Could you feel Leo's passion and enthusiasm as much as I did? And doesn't it make you feel good that things are changing out there? And it's so easy for all of us to do something. Come on, let's be curious. Get out of your comfort zones, be prepared to take a little risk. Life is so much more fun that way. And if you're in Berlin, Hamburg or Cologne, take out your phone, download the MealSaver app right now. It's totally free and just give it a go. I'll put you all the details about MealSaver below, and you can find all the links to the other initiatives we mentioned in the show notes at greenmeberlin.com/podcast-MealSaver. As Leo said at the end, please support those creative social businesses in Berlin and anywhere else. They're all working hard and really rely on you, on their communities. Without you, it simply doesn't work. And it's the same for me. I need you guys to help me spreading the word. So share this episode with your friends, subscribe to the podcast, or swing by at greenmeberlin.com and see what else I put for you on the site. Always happy to hear from you. Any thoughts, feedback, questions you may have. So don't be shy and get in touch. And if you really want to up the game and green up your life, sign up for my 10 Days of Green challenge at greenmeberlin.com/10-day challenge, 10 the number. And I'll send you a daily challenge right into your inbox each morning for 10 days. Next round is starting on March 14. Alright, now let's call it a wrap. Thanks a million for listening, guys. Have a beautiful day, and always remember to keep it green.